Morning, intuitives. I'm going to assume, since I haven't heard any comments about the video quality or sound, that the iPad is working out. You tell me. You're the ones who watch these things. I don't know why, but keep doing it anyway. Don't ask questions. Haven't done an INFJ video in a little while, so I know my narcissism videos have been getting more traffic lately, and given recent circumstances, I've been thinking about narcissists and borderlines more because it's come up in conversation, especially, what I've endured in my life. And people are admitting that, oh, something was wrong, but I didn't say anything because this is Chester County. We don't question the status quo. We just blindly follow it. Yes, master. So, get into that in another video. But on the topic of INFJ, a couple comments and some messages I got from older videos that I posted in message boards, specifically about INFJ males and the walking paradoxes that we are, kind of inspires me to do this video. And while all INFJs are a walking paradox, it does seem to even be more of a paradoxical nature for male INFJs, given that most of the traits that make us paradoxical are traditionally feminine traits that we embody. So it makes us not the typical male. Some of these I've gone over before, but I want to do an in-depth video about why INFJ men are such walking paradoxes. So here we go. Let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe anyway and help the channel grow, because it seems to help at least a few of you. And well, that gives me something to get up in the morning for, because, well, life ain't so good. We'll stop there. So there are many reasons why INFJ men are walking paradoxes and atypical in a lot of respects, and by all measures, not the average guy, nor do we really want to be. And some of these reasons we're about to get into. So for one, INFJ men, while being very protective, are also very empathetic. So at the same time, like, we'll sit and hold someone we care about and cry with them, and they can confide in us their abuse without us being judgmental towards them of like, well, you just say no yeah, you just say no and it's your decision. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. Like, you just do it. You just do. Yeah. Oh, the platitudes, the attitude of platitude. About to go on a rant there, but I stopped myself. But at the same time, we're protective. So like, if somebody we care about is being abused, we have no problem with calling somebody out in a rather aggressive INFJ rage-filled nature, or if the situation calls for resorting to physical violence. So while we can embody, empathy and compassion, things that are traditionally female, we can also be like what's now considered the protective, toxic male. But I don't think there's anything toxic about fighting a guy who's abusing a girl and feels he has the right to and feels like she's his property. But that's just me and my opinion, and it's my channel, so I'm allowed to voice my opinion. I don't care what anybody says. Another nature that makes us highly paradoxical is terms of sex. Now, not all, but many INFJ men are demisexual, meaning that we require an emotional connection to somebody before we basically have a desire to want to sleep with them. Yeah, looks aren't enough for us, which is what women say they want, but, people lie. Everybody lies. Anyway. So, but while that's true, and we're highly picky of who we, engage with sexually, at the same time, we have a very high sex drive, and we're very sexual people when we actually have that connection with somebody. So INFJs, while demisexual, are not prudes. I've said it in other videos, I'm going to say it again. Being a demisexual is about the who you sleep with. It has nothing to do with the what you'll do with that person. The two are not the same thing. So we are very sexually adventurous and, have high sex drives, but being demisexual, most of us, we are selective, very selective with who we want to sleep with, who we're willing to take to bed. Got it? All right. Another thing is our engagement with people. INFJs, we do crave deep connections, but at the same time, we're introverts, and it is very difficult for us to trust someone and be willing to open up to them. Like, we'll help just about anybody, and with like their problem and use our intuition for their benefit. But for us to open up and be vulnerable, because a lot of us have been burned so many times that it actually gets worse with age. At least that's my experience, because that naivete of, most people are good and all that long since faded. Now it's like, oh, yeah, you're using me. You're a narcissist. You're a borderline. You just wanted to see if you could get me to fall for you. Oh, you're a slave to somebody else's will. It's like, yeah. Keep guard up. You just got me to fall for you so you could hurt me. That hurt like hell. Yeah, so, brief summary of some of my experiences. You see me as a threat to your abuse of somebody else, so you have to discredit and scapegoat me. So, yeah, while INFJs are very honest and open, we're very selective with who we open up to. And, that gets into our compassionate nature too. INFJs care very deeply. If we care about somebody, it's very deeply or nothing, because we're INFJs, all or nothing syndrome. And this is especially true for INFJ men. We can't like half be into somebody. Either we are or we aren't. And the paradoxical nature of that is a lot of times we can seem aloof and as if we don't care. And then if somebody pushes us to care and we actually realize that we do care, then we care deeply, or not at all. And then if that person hurts us, we may still care deeply and try to help them, even though they just hurt us. So that's kind of paradoxy. And that's not a word, but it is a no in its own way. Another paradoxical nature of being an INFJ can be our workaholicism. A lot of us have a lot of our identity tied up into what we do for a living, and that greatly defines us. So we will have a very strong work ethic and identify ourselves by that career, especially if that career means something to us and gives us a sense of purpose, as being a firefighter did to me. The paradoxical nature of that is if we have a job we don't care about, while we'll still be the workaholic who works overtime and, does what they can, if it's a job that doesn't give us purpose and it's like a non-essential job, we'll a lot of times make jokes about it, especially to our own detriment, but other people in general, like, just about the reality of people going off about how important they are in a non-important job. And they'll act like they're saving the world. I don't know, maybe this is just me, because I've really struggled over the years. As I said before, I became an EMT at 17. So like some of these people that I've dealt with that were kind of narcissistic, like, oh my God, the people may not be able to golf, we have to wait 20 minutes to tee off, or somebody had to wait 5 minutes for their entree to come out. Oh, they act like it's life and death. It's like, no, I've literally dealt with life and death. It's like, this person's bleeding to death. They're in cardiac arrest. This person just had a brain aneurysm. That's life and death. No matter except for extreme circumstances, even the worst case scenario at a restaurant or a golf club, nobody's gonna die. Same within retail. Nobody's gonna die. Even if there's like some catastrophic, failure to where the golf course isn't playable, what's the worst case scenario? They can't play a game today. What's the worst case scenario realistically at a restaurant? Somebody has to go eat somewhere else. That's not changing anybody's life. It may be annoying, but in the grand scheme of things, bad microphone, it's not really changing anything. Something else that is kind of paradoxical for INFJ men is our maternal instincts. Yes, and I meant to say maternal. We tend to be very, I did a video on it and I used Harry Mason from Silent Hills as a reference, so go watch it. We tend to be more maternal than paternal in a lot of ways, and that is paradoxical given that maternal instincts are typically expressed as very extroverted and we're introverted, but given that bond, that an INFJ has with their child, that sort of overcomes our introversion, because obviously that's somebody we trust and care about right off the bat, because who wouldn't care about any baby? If you give me any baby, I'm gonna be happy. I love holding babies. They love me and always have. Another paradoxical nature of the INFJ male is like beauty and looks, because while in seeking a partner, regardless of sexual orientation, the INFJ is far more consumed with worrying about like somebody's personality and common likes and compatibility and understanding us, because that doesn't happen all that often, more than just how they look. But at the same time, INFJs are concerned with how we look. It's given that, more feminine nature, we know that in this world, looks are very important, and we, take more time with our physical appearance typically than the average guy. A lot of INFJ men like use anti-aging products. It's not just me. And yes, part of that's because I was raised by a borderline mother who raised me like a daughter, and I entered the modeling industry at 15, so it was kind of drilled into me. But INFJ men know that looks are important. And we also know, if you're in tune with who you are, that we're at a disadvantage on interpersonal skills given our introversion. So we have to try to make up for that other places, because we don't really give that good first impressions. Because, somebody you meet for the first time, it's not like we're going to trust them right off the bat. There's very few people that are just genuinely that sweet and empathetic that I was able to trust them right off the bat. I can think of one person, but I already knew a lot about her when I finally met her. So it was like, yeah, you're not a fake. You're authentic, and she's gorgeous. So that helped too. That stupid love struck look on my face. I think you all know who I'm talking about. Anyway, so given these, there can be things that set INFJ men, apart from other men. Some of these struggles I'm sure other men go through, but I'm saying the combination of them all together makes the INFJ more of a walking paradox than any other human on earth. Not that female INFJs aren't walking paradoxes, but they're not dealing with the issue of, being rarer for one, but also being male and embodying and embracing a lot of traditional feminine qualities. I guess I'll go into this one too. Our intuition is a paradoxical nature because, well, for one, intuition is considered feminine. Women's intuition, the moon card of the tarot, is a feminine card. It's for another video. And INFJ men are the most intuitive of all men, and in all intuitive types, they're more common amongst females than males. And the paradoxical nature of this is that an INFJ wants to use their intuition to help others, especially once they finally learn to trust it, because it is usually right 85% of the time. And this is paradoxical in that we don't want to be extroverted, because sometimes it's like, oh, I see something, I should help that person, but I barely know them and they kind of intimidate me and they're shallow and superficial, but my integrity tells me must help. So, the intuition part wants us to help. And the reason why it's particularly true for males is because, given that intuition is typically feminine, and given in our culture, it can be especially difficult and raise eyebrows when some random guy is trying to give empathy, compassion, and intuitive insight to some random female that may be in a bad situation, because the knee-jerk reaction of everybody is, are you trying to get some? It's like, usually not. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, well, I'm trying to think like of when that was ever the case, when I tried to help someone and fall for them, because I was thinking of something for a second, but there was like the last person I really tried to set my, to use my intuition to help out of a bad situation. Her and I already had flirtation and sexual chemistry, and briefly were together, so that preceded me trying to use my intuition to help her. So that dynamic was already there. Everybody knew I was into her. It was she was hanging on me for a few weeks. It was out there for everybody to see. Yeah, and so I can't recall a time when I tried to help someone out of a bad situation, giving my intuitive insights because I was trying to enter a relationship with them. Yeah, a little paradoxical. So, yes, INFJ men are walking paradoxes. So that's why I gave this video. I know there's so much more I could say on INFJs being walking paradoxes, but I wanted to give some examples of why specifically INFJ men are walking paradoxes and some of the more unique paradoxical natures that INFJ men deal with as opposed to INFJs as a whole. So, INFJ men who watch this know that you're not alone. Yes, this is common among all of us. Yes, it's unlikely that anybody around you understands this unless they're an INFJ, particularly an INFJ male. But the odds of you, knowing another INFJ male that's roughly your age is very slim. I don't know any. Uh, so, I hope this helps. Let you know that you're not going crazy. Let you know that you are different than everybody else, but that's okay. And that you're not the only one of your kind. You're just rare as shit, but you're not the only one. So it's not you that's messed up. You're just a rare breed that very few people understand. Again, please like and subscribe to the channel. Watch the older videos, help the channel grow so it can help more people and give me a greater sense of purpose, selfishly, because, I get uh, I feel a sense of purpose helping others. It's very important to me. It's like how a succubus needs sex. I need to feel like I'm doing at least a small difference in the world to validate my existence. Right. So thank you for watching. Again, watch the older videos. Remember, INFJs, trust your intuition. If it's telling you that you should intervene in a bad situation because somebody's in a bad way and you're willing to say what nobody else will, trust your intuition, but proceed with caution because it's likely you will be scapegoated. Those that benefit from the status quo don't want the status quo exposed for what the status quo really is. And remember to always keep your integrity intact when helping others, even when you may righteously and justifiably want to call somebody out in a INFJ rage that they so rightly deserve. Because a lot of people don't understand what righteous anger is, and they see all anger as a form of aggression, when righteous anger is a form of protection.